My name is Philippe Cloutier. I'm President and CEO of Cartier Resources, junior gold explorer in Quebec, Abitibi, and we're listed on the TSX Venture Exchange with the ticker ECR. Our flagship project is the Cadillac project, which includes a past-producing mine, and we're out in the next 18 months to drill 100,000 meters to demonstrate that we're dealing with a new gold mining camp, a 30-minute drive east of Val-d'Or.
Philippe, good to see you.
Thank you.
Been a while.
Yeah.
You've changed. You've changed. You've changed. And I don't mean you. I think companies change,
Yes,
right?
yes, it has.
So since I saw you, you had the 03 transaction.
Yep.
And then the Agnico transaction.
3.
And what are we looking at today? What is the company today?
Today we're looking at a company that is has a share registry of 27% ownership by Agnico Eagle.
Right.
We're looking at a company that has $12 million in the bank. We're looking at a company that in 2024 clearly demonstrate post 03 transaction that we're dealing with a camp scale exploration play that includes the past producing gold mine. And that triggered the fact that we generated a 100,000 meter diamond drill proposal that Agnico agrees with. And so we're off to the races. In August of this year, we'll be initiating a 100,000 meter diamond drill program. That's 500 diamond drill holes that will be drilled 24/7 with 2 rigs from August 2025 to Easter 2027.
Right. You missed a bit. Exploits. Just
Yes.
also, not just tidying up balance sheet, but also tidying up portfolio a little bit. So
Absolutely.
Benoit, Fenton, Wilson, what's happened there?
These are great projects that unfortunately we would have had to shelve and gather dust because we have to focus on the Cadillac project.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, we identified a tremendous partner in exploits, and we were able to craft a unique deal where they are taking on those 3 projects. And you know, these 3 projects are in the heart of an emerging mining district. When Goldfields recently bought Cisco Mining, they became a major player in that area. And the 3 projects, Benoit, Fenton, and Wilson, have historic resources on them. So I believe that Exploits is the right partner to take these on, advance them, and they have a right to option up to 100% ownership in these assets, where we're compensated with cash payments and share payments, and they have to commit to work expenditure. So it's a perfect situation for us. We get to focus on our flagship, and we get to make sure that these other assets are advanced with the right partner.
Okay, so there's a financial value to that transaction. It relieves you from having to think about apportioning cash to them.
Exactly.
Okay, so are you relieved to be a single asset company?
Yes, in a sense, because the Cadillac project is a scale of which, listen, it's a 20-kilometer stretch that straddles the Larder Lake Cadillac Fault, like highly prospective. There's over 100 million ounces that has been produced on that fault. It's home to Agnico Eagle, Eldorado, West Dome, IM Gold. And so this project alone would constitute maybe 4 or 5 projects of a normal junior. And so we're relieved to have that single asset, but to work it comprehensively. You have to understand that prior to Cartier's consolidating that through the 03 acquisition, that was essentially a dozen projects held by a dozen operators. 03 had done the bulk of the consolidation, which we folded into Cartier.
Yeah.
And so with that consolidation, we were able to get rid of all the historic encumbrances in terms of property boundaries.
Yeah.
And now we were able to work all of these gold discoveries unencumbered by, we're getting too close to that boundary.
Right. What does the Agnico Eagle bid to? Because just think about the sequencing here. You're on your own, doing some good work.
Yep.
Chimo was you working your way with on, but you weren't getting that traction in the market yourselves, right? 03, bigger, more advanced projects, they weren't getting much love in the market either.
No.
And then eventually having to do the Agnico deal. So Agnico, obviously in the district, they're the big player, the £800 gorilla. that made a lot of sense.
Yep.
That deal, and
Yep.
obviously because they O3 owned a bit of you,
Yep.
then it's very incestuous.
And
But
it-
how does it work in your favor?
Okay, you're right. It's very incestuous, but the reason O3 wasn't getting any love for the Cadillac portion of the project is
Yeah.
what they were focused on their Marban discovery
Yep.
and developing project that's backyard to Agnico.
Yeah.
Agnico, when they took over O3, it was an incident. It was just a consequence that they ended up owning so much. But the fact that they're continuing, I think, points to the fact that they also believe that Cartier can deliver a camp scale gold potential in the
So what you said, 27%?
27%.
That's a real chunk, and what a name to have. What a name
Yes,
to have,
it
right?
is.
And no dispute with that. But what do they expect from you? What do they want from you? You said they've agreed to 100,000 meter program. How are they working with you? What's the money flow look like?
Okay, I would invite people to read the investor rights agreement that we filed on CDR
They
Plus.
won't, just so you know.
They won't, but they should.
Yeah.
Because it is a very it outlines their rights and our rights.
Yeah.
And within that, we point to the fact that there's a technical committee that's built, by Cartier and Agnico. It's basically free consulting on our part. We get to share our ideas. They have no casting vote.
Yeah.
We get to do whatever we want.
Okay.
But obviously, they have a large foot in the door, and so they have a vested interest to see us succeed, and to give us the right pointers. And
It's not purely financial. I do hope Cartier works out, but they're in the district. They
have a
see
big footprint in the district.
what you're trying to do in the district. They can see both sides of the chessboards, right? So,
And they have 3 mills to feed.
They've right. Okay, there's the end game. Okay, so that's what's in it for them. I was trying to say, they'll have their own agenda. You've got your own agenda, but at 27%, they've got access to all the information. But are you working towards their plan or your plan?
We're always working for our plan,
Right.
reward our investors, right? If we reward our investors, it obviously rewards them as well. And their incentive is obviously to help point us in the right direction if they see we're going astray. But again, they have 3 mills to feed, and they have a multi-generational timeline, whereas we have a shorter timeline to address.
But so you're explorer. Your team are explorers. They're producers. Right? So to what end with the drilling campaign? What do you need to show? Because, doing economic studies, they don't need you for that.
They redo them anyways.
Exactly, right? So how do you play the market game? Because you want to kind of drive the value of this company up, the liquidity, share price ultimately, obviously. So what's that information flow that's going to come from you look like?
Okay.
And who are you talking to?
Very well. The drill program is designed, all right? We're not prospecting with the drill. Where the drill program is designed to really the objectives to demonstrate we have a mining camp.
Yeah.
There's 60 years plus of exploration success in that patch of ground. So there's 10 distinct gold zones that have been discovered in the past, but not fully drill tested. So the program, once again, 100,000 meters, 500 drill holes, very short from surface to 300 meters over an 18-month period. So that's 1 hole per day.
Yeah.
So that addresses the steady, frequent, high-profile news flow stemming from drill results.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it's a 3-pronged program. 1, to grow the resource base around the known gold zones without going back to the past producing stretch that we've drilled off for over 10 years. The second part of the program is to verify artificial intelligence generated type targets, because understand that we've consolidated over 60 years of exploration data. It's a huge database. So the algorithm that Verify has with its artificial intelligence, the Doro project, well, it can now generate some really high profile and robust targets that we're approaching this with an open mind. I likened it to having a racehorse. You get from A to B doing the traditional method, but using this artificial intelligence program without biasing the whole process, right? Because if you orient the machine in one direction, you don't go in that direction. we hands off. We've given them the database, and we're quite impressed with the targets that they've generated. And so we're going to allocate about 25% of our entire drill program doing these blue sky type targets, verify AI, structural and expansion targets on the known gold salts. And finally, the third part of the program is, well, as you may suspect, we're having a new look at our resource base with a new resource estimator, and they're going to look at the economics with these new gold prices, and we're going to apply the geostatistics that we see that there on the traditional targeting, the verify AI targeting, and the global targeting at the property scale. Right. Because understand that we have a past producing mine in one part of the project area, but what if the mother lode is situated 4 kilometers to the east? We need to establish the center of gravity of that camp position.
Yes.
And I think Agnico or anybody else out there is going to enjoy the results.
So how do you say, lots of drilling, lots of news flow. But again, like I said, for the same people, same reason I think people won't read the agreement, they probably won't bother to try to interpret the drilling unless you frame it a certain way for them.
I agree, and that's why we're talking.
Yeah,
that's another component of Cartier 4.0.
We're technically 1.0. I got 2.0 is what?
Okay, 2.0 was when we after we founded the company, we went from prospecting to showing type assets.
Okay.
3.0 we went from showing type assets to buying deposits in the ground, Felton, Wilson, Benoit, and Chimo.
Okay.
4.0 is taking it one step further.
Right.
It's taking the project from, okay, now that we have a standalone economic potential at Chimo, can we build that into a multi-generational, multi-ounce situation that will suit a super senior, a senior, an intermediate producer, and that I believe will reward our investors. And we'll frame those results in order for them to see that and understand.
Okay, let me come back to that. And I'm not trying to be rude here. I'm just trying to be clear. When people talk about 2.0 for 3.0, it's like it feels like something's gone wrong before. And I've had 2 of those today already. This kind of framing of 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 is like
it's an evolution.
It's not a case of we didn't know what we're doing. It's not a case of we are making this up as we go along. It's not a case of some stuff's happened, so we have to evolve the company. Well, you are evolving the company as the results on the ground, and I think, to be fair, the market has dictated, because you've been a bit cash constrained.
Exactly, right? And so we've reduced our marketing. We're simply constantly adjusting our wins to the sale, the sales to the wins. And so it's going from point A to point B, and understanding that it's going to be a zigzag route. But always keeping in mind that we have impatient investors. We have a job to do. We just have to make the right decisions to,
Right. See, this is the best version of you.
I think this is
not different. It's best.
It's a better version of the 3 previous ones.
Okay.
And if we have to do 5.0, we will. But this 4.0 version is a version that will provide our shareholders with strong, steady news flow starting in August.
So let's come back to that. So interpreting it for them, because otherwise it just looks like drills after drills after drills out, with no need, quite frankly, given the partner, the most obvious partner at Agnico, not needing you to do economic studies. How are you going to demonstrate? How do you present that information to the market? Can you just kind of really get into the weeds of that for retail investors who are going to be the main drivers of your valuation at the moment, I think?
Well, I understand your question. It seems like a vast drill program, but the whole drill program is broken down to identifying which zones can be re-rated, reprioritized for further drilling to grow and present more resources.
Right.
And it in line with, our last preliminary economic assessment was done in May 2023 when the price of gold was $1,750. So obviously that is stale dated.
Right.
Our last resource was just prior to the PEA, and that was 2.3 million ounces.
Right.
But the 2.3 million ounces that we generated was on a basis of 52,000 meters of diamond drilling. Since then, we've drilled an additional 48,000 meters.
Okay.
So you could pretty well imagine that our original resources has grown since then. Now, in the past 10 years, we've drilled 110,000 meters of diamond drilling in and around the Chimo mine, past producing mine.
Right.
Now we're going to be drilling almost as much diamond drilling as we've drilled in the past 10 years. So that is going to shake things up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Last 10 years, 100,000 meters of diamond drilling. In the next year or so, 100,000 meters. So fully expect a different image or a different picture to emerge from what we're seeing now at Cadillac.
Do you think the timing's right? Because like there's a few companies that have recently put out, people talk about maiden resources, initial resources. I don't want to get into the semantics. Around 2 million grades of say two grams, and we've seen business model change. I'm thinking of, for 03 timing wise, I'm not sure it kind of worked out for them. You've got, and that's the market dictating that, right? There's nothing wrong with the management or the people or the asset. It's just what happened. You got companies like Amex, for example, and or America's Gold and stuff, saying, look, we need to find a quick route to production, a quick route to revenue, and that is a model which is being rewarded, I think, for some of those people. I've forgotten how many meters your company has drilled. It's a lot of meters.
Yep.
There's already a lot of ounces. You can maybe extrapolate out from the last, who knows, right? Yeah. We won't say these things, but you can do the math at home, folks. And with another 100,000 meters coming up as well, you've got potentially a lot of ounces in the ground there.
Yep.
When do we stop drilling, and when do we start showing?
All right. That's a loaded.
I don't need any forward statement.
No,
right?
it is quite loaded. But when you stop drilling, one must assume that I've run out of ideas, or the system is capped, or I've run out of cash, or they could say, now they're gonna timestamp their database and put out an updated resource. So basically, in what we're trying to do is to keep advancing this project in the right direction, to make the best decisions when it comes to, all right, are we going to look at this through an iteration that involves a smaller resource base but higher grade gold? Are we going to go for a higher volume, lower grade? Are we going to try to look at an iteration of an economic study that involves building a mill on site? Or are we going to go for an iteration saying, let's evaluate toll milling scenarios? Right? And we're blessed with the fact that the project is just a 30-minute drive out of Val-d'Or, proximal to infrastructure and qualified workforce, right? Is in a jurisdiction which is mining friendly. So we have to, there's a lot of variables to this story. We just have to pick the best ones that make.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, and I don't think there's a right business model, but we've seen people who do want to do the opposite of you because they think that's the right model for them. And I guess every project's different, I get it. But all I'm trying to get out of you at the moment is like, what's in your head, the management, the board's head, so how this advances, and therefore, what am I buying into?
Well, obviously you're buying into a stock, and you've mentioned other junior companies are buying it. Any junior company that has the right assets in the right jurisdiction has not had any love in the market right now.
Yeah.
The producers have, but the juniors are really low. So basically what we have is a tremendous asset that's going to be moving forward, and yet our share price is not appreciated. And yet we're hitting all the right milestones.
Well, or maybe not, because I'm saying I look at your valuation, I go, man, that's good value. I do.
That's what I
Not
think.
Everyone will do that. They say, my point is is it a case of people have looked at the model and they don't understand it, the business model, and they don't understand it? Is it a case of they look at it and go, well, that's never going to work, right? In which case you've got a bit more work to do to persuade those people.
Well, either way, I have a lot of work to do.
Or you say, I hear you, but look what the setup is for the near-term future. So you can get in early and buy into that future.
Yeah.
And now you've got some cash
Yeah.
to back that idea up. So
Absolutely.
the idea, we just finish off this thing, just be really clear. The idea for you is really simple. It's drilling to an end, drilling for a purpose.
Yes. Drilling for a purpose and addressing what I would call the irritants that were brought to our attention during the bear market that we've recently been through. Oh, are there areas on the property that have higher grades? Oh, are there areas on the property where there's mineralization is not as deep as at Chinaman? Well, yeah, that's what the drill program will be addressing.
Yeah.
Building a premium at all levels on this project in the next 18 months. And we're fully funded to do that, as well as, rolling out a much more aggressive marketing program.
That must feel good.
It feels very good to be fully funded to do everything that we've mapped out to do. Yeah. It feels very, very good.
Okay. Can you make me one promise?
Yes.
Can you please keep doing your technical reviews on your website? I think they're fantastic. People should watch those. That's what I like.
I will. And anybody has any suggestions or any questions, just call me anytime. I will address those. And we'll be backing out. And you could hold me to what you just asked me.
Philippe, good to see you.
Thank you, Matt.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's good.